Hello and welcome to a special 90s retro episode of Reluctant Movie Reviews, where today we'll be talking about Rajiv Rai's 1997 classic GUPT, starring Kajol, Manisha Koirala, and of course one of my favorite actors of all time, Bobby Deol. Now, if you've not seen this movie for whatever reason, I suggest you pause this video right now and watch it. It's available for free on Z5, and trust me, you will not regret it. If you don't want to see it, that's alright. Just know that you're missing out on one of the high points of 90s Bollywood and culture. Oh, and also spoilers ahead. Now, as with any great piece of cinema, GUPT can be read and understood in a lot of different ways. It can be seen most obviously as a classic murder mystery. Bobby Deol's character Sahil is framed for the murder of his stepdad Raj Babbar at the beginning of the movie, and after breaking out of prison, he spends the rest of the movie trying to figure out who really killed his father. It can be viewed as a cross-class love story turned love triangle in which the inciting incident is Raj Babbar's refusal to allow Bobby to marry his childhood sweetheart Kajol because of her inferior class position. That's not all. GUPT is also a typical male coming-of-age story in which the search for the truth transforms the carefree, purposeless, violent brat Bobby into a serious, mature, and even more violent crusader for justice. On top of all this, I'm sure someone way smarter than me could probably write an entire academic paper exploring the gender dynamics within the film, not to mention the broader implications of using the subversion of gender roles to engineer the movie's famous twist ending, wherein it is revealed that, hey, women too be doing crimes, man. Now, my reading of what this movie is about is different from all these interpretations, and I don't expect it to be entirely convincing to everyone, but I really think that GUPT is something of a critique of social institutions. Look, I said not everyone will find it credible, but hear me out, okay? I've not gone totally mad, I think. It's actually quite obvious if you see the movie. See, Bobby is not just the son of any old rich guy. His dad is a governor who, in the universe of this movie, for some reason has executive powers and isn't just a ceremonial head of state.
यार गांधी बाबा के बाद कोई सोशल वर्कर पैदा हुआ है तो ये जैसी सीना क्या जादू कर दिया है पब्लिक हम भी सोशल.
Anyways, because of his job as the honest, upright governor who is truly concerned about the welfare of the people in society, Babbar is surrounded by powerful, shady, malevolent characters who all have some kind of axe to grind with him. There is Mantri Ji, played gleefully by Prem Chopra, a typical greasy, opportunistic, sycophantic politician who will basically do anything to ensure his political success. Then there's a suave industrialist and arch-capitalist, Dalip Tahil, whose quest for market expansion and domination could be derailed if the state, that is Raj Babbar, does not support him enough. Finally, there is the corrupt union boss, played by Sharat Saxena, who pretends to oppose the capitalist and speak for the workers, but is only concerned with preserving his extortion racket, wherein he takes money from mill owners in order to not do anything about the genuine demands of the workers.
मोदी साहब, आपने मशीन में तेल डाल दिया है. अब मैं वर्कर्स की मांग को गोल कर जाऊंगा.
What the movie is trying to show here, I think, is that this elite milieu at the apex of money, power, and influence, it's an extremely dangerous space populated by these venal, Machiavellian usurpers of our institutions who aren't just responsible for the rot in society, but are also extremely threatened by any principled person like Raj Babbar in this movie who enters this space and tries to impinge on their shady dealings. And then someone actually murders him and frames his big, beautiful party boy son for it because of course the police is also corrupt and incompetent, and on top of that, poor Bobby's treacherous family lawyer throws him under the bus in court. All in all, what we see in the first hour of the movie is that all these representatives of public and private institutions, the legislature, the legal profession, the police, the unions, and capital, are all hopelessly corrupt, and one or more of them most likely conspire to murder the honest governor in cold blood and frame his dumb, expressionless son for the crime. Thus, after having suffered at the hands of our hollowed-out institutions, when Bobby emerges from prison as a fugitive in the film's second hour, he literally goes to war with these institutions, not just to find the real killer, but also, I think, at a symbolic level to inflict punishment on them for letting society down. First, he goes after the lawyer, played by Raza Murad, who does admit to messing about with the governor's will to try and capture his assets, but insists he had nothing to do with the murder. Bobby then chucks Raza Murad out of the window of his office. He does survive the fall, but damn, Bobby, don't you think that's a bit of an overreaction, dude? You didn't have to do him like that. Oh wait, Look, there he is about to decapitate the union guy using the machinery of his own mill, as his fellow workers, so fed up with his corrupt ways, are cheering Bobby on. Oh, and there he is a little later. Looks like he's rigged some kind of pulley-based contraption to literally deep fry the minister like he's a goddamn chicken. I mean, Bobby's just gone completely off the rails. Someone should stop him before he actually kills someone. The gentlest of interrogations is reserved for Dalip Tahil, who gets smacked around a little bit before confessing his many fraudulent business deals, but who also denies any involvement in the governor's murder.
देखो साहिल, देखो मैं मानता हूँ कि मैंने बिजनेस में बहुत फ्रॉड किया है, चीटिंग किया है, लेकिन मैं खूनी नहीं हूँ.
Just for good measure, Bobby does beat the shit out of Dalip Tahil's henchman. And of course, all this while he is going after the bad guys, he keeps clashing with the police, who by the way send a murderous alcoholic encounter specialist in the form of the legend Om Puri to hunt him down like an animal. But even though Bobby manages to escape the police's clutches many times, he ultimately runs out of suspects to beat and torture and make them admit they did the murder. And this is where my whole theory breaks down, of course. The mystery of who murdered the governor is finally resolved at the end of the movie when we find out that actually none of the bad guys are responsible for it. It was all just misdirection. It turns out that the real murderer is in fact the hyper-emotional, obsessive woman who got so enraged at Raj Babbar for not letting her marry Bobby that she stuck a knife in his gut. From a narrative standpoint, I suppose it makes sense to subvert audience expectations, but from a thematic perspective, it appears to be a complete reversal of what the movie has been trying to say up to this point, in my opinion, that the institutional rot is real and the people who run them are irredeemable, but the crime is the act of a psychopathic individual who is eventually shot and killed by the forceful hand of the law, reaffirming the legitimacy of the state and its institutions. Does the twist ending mean that my theory is wrong? Probably, but that is the beauty of interpreting art. I can keep believing in my stupid theory and nobody can tell me that I'm wrong. And the ending, gimmicky as it may be, certainly does not take anything away from how entertaining the movie is as a whole. I have to give a special shout out to the amazing supporting cast in the film. It is stacked from top to bottom with just the greatest 90s actors. Priya Tendulkar, Sadashiv Amrapukar, Ashok Saraf, Paresh Rawal, Kulbhushan Kharbanda, Harish Patel, Anjan Srivastav, Mukesh Rishi, and all the others I've already mentioned. Also, the music and background score is quite phenomenal. Bravo, Vijusha, take a damn bow. Both Kajal and Manisha Koirala are also great, and Bobby... Well, he cannot act to save his life, but come on, look at those long curly locks. That's my only other criticism of the movie, by the way, that there aren't enough long slow motion shots of Bobby catwalking with his hair fluttering sensuously in the breeze. Big miss by the director there, and because of that grievous oversight, I will only give GUPT 8 out of 10 stars. Go watch this 90s classic right now and enter the Bobbyverse.